The phone screen read, "She's pregnant," and Min-ho's world shattered into a single truth. He would kill every person in Seoul if that's what it took. He had already lost her once, twice. But carrying his child in the hands of a dying man with nothing to lose. The beast inside him that he had kept chained for her, the one that made grown men beg for mercy, broke free. And when he found her, when he tore through Choi's fortress with blood on his hands and murder in his eyes, the last thing he expected was the bullet that came from behind. From the person he least expected, as the man stood there, gun still smoking, wearing a smile Min-ho had never seen before. "Did you really think that I was working for you?" Welcome back to Melanin Meets Seoul, besties. This is where everything you thought you knew burns to the ground. Let's begin. Min-ho didn't sleep, didn't eat. For 18 hours straight, he tore through Seoul's underworld like a force of nature, extracting information with methods that made even his hardest men look away. Every contact Choi had ever made, every property, every shell company, every offshore account. He tracked it all with the cold precision of a man who had nothing left to lose except the two people who mattered. Park coordinated everything: surveillance teams, tactical units, exit strategies. The man was a machine, as always, working 36 hours without rest. Min-ho caught him once, staring at a photo of Amara on the monitor. "We will get her back, boss," Park had said quietly. "I promise you that." Min-ho had gripped his shoulder. "I know. You have never failed me." By dawn of the second day, they had the location. An abandoned pharmaceutical factory on the outskirts of Seoul, owned by a subsidiary of one of Choi's shell corporations. Thermal imaging showed 20 hostiles inside, and one heat signature in the basement, alone. Amara. "We go in quiet," Min-ho said, loading his weapons with mechanical precision. "Suppressed weapons, no alarms. We get to Choi, we end this, we extract her. 15 minutes, in and out." Park nodded, organizing the assault teams. 20 of Min-ho's best, former military, loyal to the bone. Or so he thought. They hit the factory at 3 a.m. The first floor went down in 4 minutes. Swift, silent, brutal. Min-ho moved through the darkness like death itself, each shot precise, each movement calculated. This was what he had been before Amara, before love had softened him, before he had tried to be something better. Tonight, he was the monster Seoul whispered about. The second floor was Choi's command center. The dying CEO sat in a leather chair, oxygen tank beside him, watching monitors that showed Amara in the basement. He was so focused on the screens he didn't hear Min-ho enter until the gun pressed against his temple. "You lose," Min-ho said simply. Choi smiled, blood on his lips from coughing. "Do I? Look at what I made you become again. Look at the bodies you left downstairs. The monster is back, Min-ho. She will never look at you the same way. She is alive. That's all that matters." Min-ho pulled the trigger. The sound echoed. Choi slumped, and Min-ho was already moving toward the stairs, toward the basement, toward Amara. Park and 3 men followed. They descended into the concrete underground, the air thick with dampness and fear. She was there, tied to a chair under a single light, but alive, bruised but defiant. Her eyes found his, and something broke in his chest. "Min-ho!" she breathed. He was across the space in seconds, holstering his weapon, reaching for the zip ties. "I've got you. You're safe. I'm getting you out of—" The shot cracked through the basement like thunder. Pain exploded through Min-ho's shoulder, spinning him around. He hit the concrete hard, hand instinctively going to the wound, blood already pooling. His gun had skittered away, and standing at the bottom of the stairs, weapon raised, was Park. "No!" Amara's scream tore through the space. Min-ho stared up at the man he'd trusted for 8 years, the man who'd saved his life twice, the man he'd called brother. "Park?" "Sorry, boss." But Park wasn't sorry. He was smiling. "Well, not really sorry. This has been a long time coming." The 3 men with Park moved to flank Min-ho, weapons trained, not to help him, to contain him. Min-ho's mind raced, trying to make sense of it, trying to find the angle. But the betrayal was so complete, he couldn't process it. "Why?" "Why?" Park laughed, descending the last few steps. "You really don't remember, do you? 8 years ago, the Busan Territory War. You ordered a hit on the Song family syndicate. Very thorough, very brutal. You killed everyone. Parents, uncles, cousins." He crouched down, gun never wavering. "My family, Min-ho." The words hit harder than the bullet. Min-ho's eyes widened. "Song, your mother's name. You changed it to Park when I came to work for you. Yes, I buried myself deep, became your most trusted man, learned everything, your weaknesses, your networks, your woman." Park glanced at Amara, who was struggling against her restraints, tears streaming down her face. "I've been playing the long game. Every attack I coordinated. Jin-woo, I funded him through offshore accounts you never traced back. Choi, I put him in touch with your enemies, gave him the information he needed. I've been dismantling your empire piece by piece, and you never saw it coming." Min-ho tried to move, but 2 guns pressed against his head. Blood poured from his shoulder. "You won't kill me." "No," Park stood. "That would be too easy. I want you to live, Min-ho. I want you to watch as I take everything from you the way you took everything from me. Your empire, already crumbling. Half your captains are on my payroll now. Your money, frozen in accounts you can't access. Your reputation, about to be destroyed when certain evidence hits the news tomorrow." He turned to Amara. "And her. She's going to watch you fall, watch you become nothing, and then she's going to leave you, because what woman stays with a man who can't even protect her?" "Don't touch her," Min-ho's voice was raw. "I'm not going to touch her. I'm not a monster like you." Park nodded to his men. "Get him out of here. Drop him somewhere public. No weapons, no phone. Let him crawl back to his empty empire." He looked at Amara. "You'll be released tomorrow morning, unharmed. You'll go home to find him gone, his accounts frozen, his organization dismantled, and you will realize you bet on the wrong man." "You are making a mistake," Min-ho said through gritted teeth as they hauled him up. "You think you've won, but you don't know her. You don't know us." "I know enough." Park waved them away. "Goodbye, Min-ho. Enjoy the fall." They dragged him up the stairs. Amara's screams followed him. And then, at the factory entrance, Park's men threw him into an alley in Gangnam in the morning rain, bleeding and broken, with nothing but the clothes on his back. The next morning, Amara woke up in a hospital. Clean, bandaged, the baby was fine, checked by doctors, confirmed healthy at 7 weeks. A note sat beside her bed. "You are free now. Don't look for him. He's not who you think he is, a friend." But she knew exactly who she was, and she knew exactly what she was going to do. She discharged herself against medical advice, took a taxi to the penthouse, and found it empty, stripped, Everything of value gone. Even his clothes. But in their bedroom, hidden under a loose floorboard she had discovered weeks ago, was an emergency envelope. Cash, a burner phone, an address. Min-ho had prepared for this, for the day everything fell apart. The address led to a small apartment in Itaewon, a safe house. She found him there 3 hours later, sitting on the floor against the wall, shoulder bandaged, staring at nothing. He looked up when she entered, and something died in his eyes. "You shouldn't be here." "Too bad." She sat down beside him. "I'm here anyway." "Amara, everything is gone. The penthouse, the money, the organization. Park wasn't lying. I checked what I could access. Half my men have turned. My accounts are frozen. My businesses are being seized. I'm a dead man walking." He wouldn't look at her. "You need to leave Seoul. I have some emergency funds hidden. Enough to get you home, to set you up, to—" "I'm not leaving. You have to. I can't protect you anymore. I'm not the man you married. I'm nothing. You are the father of my child." Her hand found his. "You are the man I love. You are not nothing. I'm a liability." He finally looked at her, and she saw the depth of his despair. "Park was right. You should leave before I drag you down with me." "What happened to the man who said he'd burn down the world for me?" "He failed." Min-ho's voice cracked. "Twice I let you be taken. Twice. And the person I trusted most betrayed everything. I don't know who else is compromised. I don't know who to trust. I can't keep you safe, and I won't watch you die because of me." She cupped his face, forcing him to meet her eyes. "Then we rebuild, together." "You don't understand." "I understand that Park spent 8 years planning this. I understand he is smart and patient, and wants to destroy you. I understand everything is gone." She pressed her forehead to his. "But I also understand that I didn't survive being kidnapped twice. Didn't learn to fight. Didn't fall in love with a Mafia boss, just to run away when things get hard. You taught me to be strong. Now let me teach you that strength isn't about having power. It's about getting back up when you've lost everything." For the first time since the betrayal, something sparked in his eyes. "You are insane. I married you, didn't I?" She kissed him gently. "Now, stop feeling sorry for yourself. We have a traitor to destroy, and an empire to rebuild." The next week they moved like ghosts through Seoul. Min-ho had 3 men he trusted absolutely, men who had been with him since before Park, men whose loyalty was personal, not professional. With their help, he started putting together the puzzle of Park's network. Amara refused to stay hidden. She had learned from her training, and now she put it to use. She was the one who discovered Park's weakness, a woman just like her. Park's wife, who had appeared in the factory basement after Min-ho was taken. Through careful surveillance, Amara identified her, Yoon Ji-hee, who happened to be a corporate lawyer, smart, beautiful, and, according to property records Amara dug up, living in a penthouse purchased through one of Park's shell companies. "She has his leverage point," Amara said, laying out the evidence on their safe-house table. "Everything he's built for her. Look at the timing. He bought that penthouse 6 months ago, started moving assets into her name. He's planning to disappear with her once he had finished destroying you." Min-ho studied the photos. "You did all this yourself." "I had a good teacher." She smiled. "Plus, I'm motivated. Nobody shoots my husband and gets away with it." "You are terrifying, you know that?" "I learned from the best." She kissed his cheek. "Now, how do we use her?" but Min-ho was staring at her with something between awe and fear. "Amara, I need to tell you something. Park was right about one thing. I am a monster. The things I've done, the people I've killed. You saw who I really am at that factory. If we do this, if we go after Park, you're going to see more of that side of me, the side I tried to hide from you. I know who you are." She took his hands. "I've always known, and I love you anyway, monster and all." He pulled her into his arms, holding her like she was the only thing keeping him grounded. "I don't deserve you." "Probably not, but you're stuck with me." She pulled back, rubbing her still flat stomach. "We both are." Over the next month, they worked in shadows. Min-ho reached out to old allies Park hadn't corrupted, people who owed Min-ho blood debts, people whose loyalty couldn't be bought. Slowly, carefully, they built a counter-network. Not an empire, something smaller, deadlier. Amara became his secret weapon. Nobody knew about her. Park thought she had left Seoul, so when she appeared at Yoon Ji-hae's office building, introducing herself as a potential client for legal services, the lawyer had no idea she was walking into a trap. "I'm starting a business," Amara said smoothly, sitting across from Ji-hae in the sleek office. "Import-export. I need someone who understands international corporate law and doesn't ask too many questions." Ji-hae smiled. "I think I can help you with that." Over the next 2 weeks, Amara built a relationship with her. Lunches, coffee meetings, girl talk. She played the role of naive entrepreneur perfectly. And Ji-hae, confident in Park's victory, never suspected the beautiful African woman was married to the man her husband had destroyed. Until Amara showed her the photos. They were having coffee when Amara slid the envelope across the table. Ji-hae opened it curiously, then froze. Photos of Park, with other women, in hotels, in cars, timestamps from the last 3 months, including 2 weeks ago. "What is this?" Ji-hae's voice shook. "The truth about the man you love." Amara's voice was gentle. "I'm sorry. I know this hurts, but you deserve to know he's been using you. That is the only reason he married you." "Who are you, really?" "Someone who knows what Park is capable of." Amara leaned forward. "He is using you as a cover. All those assets in your name. When this is over, when the police come investigating, you're going to take the fall. He's setting you up as the scapegoat while he disappears." Ji-hae's hands trembled. "You are lying." "Am I? Check your own records. Look at the corporate structures. You're smart, you'll see it." Amara stood. "When you're ready to talk about how to protect yourself, call me, before it's too late." She left the envelope and walked away. 3 days later, Ji-hae called. They met in a private room at a traditional tea house. Ji-hae looked like she hadn't slept. "I checked. You're right. He's been setting me up to take the fall for money laundering and corporate fraud. Everything leads back to me on paper." "I'm sorry. Who are you?" "Really?" Amara hesitated, then decided on truth. "I'm Kang Min-ho's wife." Ji-hee's eyes widened. "The man Park destroyed." "The man Park tried to destroy," Amara corrected. "There's a difference." "Why are you helping me?" "Because Park took someone I love and tried to break him. And because you're an innocent person being used as a pawn, you deserve better." Amara slid a flash drive across the table. "That contains evidence that proves Park, not you, structured those accounts. It also contains evidence of his real plan, to frame you and disappear. Take it to the prosecutors before he does." "He'll kill me." "Not if he's in custody first," Amara smiled. I have a plan, but I need your help." Ji-hai stared at the flash drive for a long moment. Then, "What do you need me to do?" The trap was set for 2 weeks later. Ji-hai invited Park to her penthouse for dinner, as usual. What Park didn't know was that Min-ho's remaining loyal men had the building surrounded. What he also didn't know was that Ji-hai had agreed to wear a wire. Park arrived confident, carrying wine, kissing Ji-hai like nothing was wrong. They ate. They drank. And then Ji-hai, hands shaking but voice steady, asked, "When were you planning to tell me you're setting me up to take the fall?" Park's smile froze. "What?" "The accounts, the corporate structures. It all leads to me. You're going to let me go to prison while you disappear." She stood, backing away. "Did you ever love me? Or was I always just a tool?" Park's expression shifted from charming to cold in an instant. "Who told you? Does it matter?" "It was her, wasn't it? Min-ho's whore." Park stood slowly. "I underestimated her. Where is she?" "Right here." Amara stepped out from the bedroom, phone in hand, recording everything. Behind her, Min-ho's men emerged from where they'd been hidden. "It's over, Park." Park's hand went to his weapon, but 6 guns were already trained on him. He laughed bitterly. "You think you've won? Even if you kill me, you're still broken. You'll never get back what you lost." "I don't need what I lost." Min-ho stepped into the apartment, shoulder heeled, eyes cold. "I just need you to pay for what you took. Going to kill me like you killed my family?" "No." Min-ho walked closer, unarmed. "I'm going to do something worse. I'm going to let you live. In prison, where every day you'll remember that you had 8 years, unlimited resources, and you still lost. You'll remember that the woman you loved betrayed you. You'll remember that Min-ho, the man you thought you destroyed, rebuilt everything while you rot in a cell." He smiled. "Revenge is patient, Park. You taught me that." The police arrived 15 minutes later. Prosecutors Ji-hai had contacted, ones Park didn't own. The evidence was overwhelming. Wire recordings, financial documents, testimony from Ji-hai about his plans, and most damning, proof that Park had orchestrated the attacks that killed 7 people, including innocent bystanders. As they dragged Park away in handcuffs, he looked at Min-ho one last time. "This isn't over." "Yes," Min-ho said quietly. "It is." After Park's arrest, the truth came out. Newspapers ran stories about the betrayal, about the long con. Public opinion shifted. Some of Min-ho's men who'd turned came back, claiming they'd been coerced. Min-ho didn't trust them. Anyone who turned once could turn again. Instead, he rebuilt smaller, leaner, with only people he trusted absolutely. The empire he built back wasn't like the old one. It was quieter. More legitimate businesses, fewer criminal enterprises. He'd tasted losing everything, and it had changed him. Made him more careful, more strategic, but it also made him paranoid. 4 months after Park's arrest, Amara was 6 months pregnant, glowing and beautiful and determined to be involved in the rebuilding. But Min-ho started pulling away. He worked 18-hour days, came home late, kept her out of meetings. When she confronted him, he was cold. "It's business. You don't need to worry about it. I'm your wife, your partner. Let me help. The best way you can help is to stay safe and focus on the baby." He turned away. "I don't have time for this discussion." It got worse. He moved them to a new penthouse with even more security, limited her movements, had guards with her constantly. When she argued, he shut down, The warmth between them froze into something distant and cold. Finally, 3 weeks before her due date, she found him in his office at 2 a.m., staring at surveillance feeds. This has to stop. What has to stop? You're pushing me away, treating me like I'm fragile. I'm pregnant, not broken. You're vulnerable. You and the baby. I can't. He ran his hands through his hair. I can't protect you if you're exposed. I don't need you to protect me like I'm a prisoner. I need you to trust me like you did when we rebuilt everything together. That was different. How? Because now I know what I could lose. His control snapped. Do you understand? When Park had you, when I thought I'd lost you and our child, I wanted to die. I can't feel that way again. I can't. So yes, I'm pushing you away. I'm keeping you locked up. I'm being the monster you fell in love with, because that's the only way I know how to keep you safe. By suffocating me? By treating me like I'm made of glass? By keeping you alive? He stood, pacing. Everyone I love dies or leaves. My parents, my grandmother, everyone. You and this baby. You're all I have. And I'm terrified every second of every day that I'm going to fail you again. Amara's anger softened. Min-ho, no. You need to hear this. Park was right. I'm poison. Everything I touch turns to ash. You should take the baby and leave. Go back to Nigeria. Start over somewhere I can't hurt you. Are you seriously trying to push me away to protect me? After everything we've been through? I'm trying to give you a life. I have a life, with you. She moved closer, but he backed away. Don't you dare run from me. We fought too hard to get here. I'm not running. I'm letting you go, before something worse happens. You don't get to make that choice for me. I'm your husband. It's my job to protect you. No. Her voice was cold now. Your job is to trust me, to be my partner, not my warden. And if you can't do that, if you're going to keep treating me like I'm a liability instead of your wife, then maybe you're right. Maybe I should leave. The words hung in the air between them. Min-ho stared at her, something breaking in his eyes. Amara, I'm staying at a hotel tonight. When you figure out whether you want a wife or a prisoner, call me. She walked to the door, then turned back. I love you, but I won't live in a cage, even a golden one. Not even for you. She left. And Min-ho stood alone in his office, surrounded by surveillance feeds and security protocols, realizing he'd become exactly what he'd feared. His father. The man who'd pushed everyone away in the name of protection until he died alone and bitter. Min-ho didn't call for 3 days. Instead, he sat in the penthouse, staring at the empty space where she should be, remembering how she'd looked at him in that warehouse. Not with fear, but with challenge. How she'd fought beside him during the rebuild. How she'd taken down Park's network with intelligence and courage. She wasn't the helpless woman he'd married at gunpoint. She was a warrior, and he'd been treating her like a victim. On the 4th day, he found her at a boutique hotel in Gangnam, standing by the window, one hand on her very pregnant belly. She didn't turn when he entered. I was wrong. I know. I was trying to protect you by pushing you away, but I was really just protecting myself from the fear of losing you. I know that too. He moved closer. I don't know how to do this, how to be soft and still keep you safe. You do it by trusting me, by letting me choose my own risks, by being my partner, not my owner. She finally turned. I'm not leaving you, but I won't live as your prisoner. Either we do this together, or we don't do it at all. Together. He took her hands. "I promise. No more surveillance state. No more making decisions without you. We're a team." "Damn right we are." She pulled him into a kiss. "Now take me home. Your daughter is doing gymnastics and I need to lie down." "Daughter?" "I found out yesterday. Surprise." Min-ho's knees nearly gave out. "We're having a girl." "We're having a girl." Amara smiled through tears. "And she's going to be fierce and strong and won't take shit from anyone, just like her mother." "God help me," Min-ho breathed, pulling her close. "Two of you." "You'll survive. You're tougher than you look." 3 weeks later, at Seoul's best private hospital, Alexia Kang came into the world screaming her fury at 3:17 a.m. 7 pounds, 6 ounces of absolute perfection. Min-ho held her with shaking hands, this tiny person who held his entire heart, and understood for the first time what his father must have felt, this terror of love, this desperate need to protect. "She's perfect," he whispered. "She is." Amara, exhausted and glowing, smiled at him. "And she's going to have both her parents, together. No more running, no more pushing away." "Together," he agreed. "Always. The first year was chaos, sleepless nights, endless diapers, a baby who had inherited both her mother's stubbornness and her father's intensity. But they did it together." Min-ho changed diapers at 3 a.m. Amara handled business calls while nursing. They took turns. They argued. They made up. They built a life. Min-ho's empire stabilized, smaller but stronger. He diversified into legitimate businesses, real estate, technology, entertainment. The criminal elements became minimal, carefully managed, never involving innocent people. He was still dangerous, still powerful, but different, focused. Amara became his public face, elegant, intelligent, handling press conferences and charity galas with grace, while Min-ho operated behind the scenes. She took Korean language classes, became fluent, started a foundation for immigrant women in Seoul, became more than just the Mafia boss's wife, became a force in her own right. Park's trial was a spectacle. He got 40 years for conspiracy, murder, money laundering, no parole. As they dragged him away to serve his sentence, Min-ho and Amara sat in the gallery, hands intertwined. Justice, served cold. Ji-hai testified against Park in exchange for immunity. After the trial, she disappeared, moved to Singapore, started over. Min-ho sent her money to help. She'd been a pawn, and she'd done the right thing in the end. That counted for something. 2 years after Alexia was born, Min-ho found Amara on the penthouse balcony, watching the Seoul sunset, their daughter asleep in her arms. He wrapped his arms around them both. "What are you thinking about?" "That night in the rain," Amara said softly, "when you gave me 2 choices, marry you or die." "Regret saying yes?" "Not even a little," she turned in his arms. "You gave me a life I never imagined. Danger and chaos and love and family. You gave me everything. You gave me more." He kissed her forehead. "You gave me a reason to be better than the monster I was. You saved me, Amara." We saved each other. They stood there as the sun set over Seoul, their daughter sleeping peacefully, the city glittering below them. 2 people who should never have worked but did. A forced marriage that became the greatest love story neither of them had expected. And somewhere in a prison cell, Park stared at the ceiling, consumed by the knowledge that he'd lost, that Min-ho had rebuilt, that love had won. 2 years later, Min-ho proposed again. Properly, this time. No gun, no threats, just a man on one knee in the penthouse, where they'd fought and loved and built a life, asking the woman he'd forced to marry him to choose him freely. "You know we're already married, right?" Amara laughed through tears. "I know, but you never got to choose, so I'm asking. Amara Okafor Kang, will you marry me again? This time because you want to, not because you have to." "You're insane. That's not an answer. Yes, 1,000 times, yes." She pulled him up, kissing him. "I choose you. Every day. Forever." They renewed their vows 6 months later. A real wedding this time, with her sister flown in from Nigeria, with his remaining family, with friends and allies. Alexia was the flower girl, toddling down the aisle, scattering petals with determined fury. And when the officiant asked if they took each other, their "I do" echoed with the weight of everything they'd survived. The reception was at the same hanok where they'd first married, full circle. But this time, when Min-ho kissed his bride, there was no uncertainty, no force, just pure, hard-won love. "You know," Amara whispered against his lips, "if someone had told me that witnessing a murder would lead to the greatest love of my life, I would have called them crazy. Are you saying I should murder people more often?" "Don't push your luck," but she was smiling. "Although maybe we should discuss baby number 2. Min-ho froze. "Another one. Alexia already runs me ragged." "I was thinking a boy this time, even the odds." "You are going to kill me." "Probably." She kissed him again. "But you'll die happy." 5 years after that night in the rain, after 2 kidnappings, a betrayal that nearly destroyed him, a daughter who had her mother's fire and her father's intensity, and a love that had survived everything the world threw at them. Min-ho looked at his wife and realized something. He'd given her 2 choices that night, marry him or die, but she'd given him something better. A third option he never knew existed, a life worth living. 10 years later, Amara stood in their penthouse, watching her daughter Alexia, now 10 years old, bilingual, brilliant, and stubborn as hell, argue with her 7-year-old brother Elijah about who got to use the tablet. Min-ho, grey threading through his black hair now, tried to mediate while clearly fighting a smile. "You 2 are going to drive your father insane," Amara called out. "Too late," Min-ho called back. "I've been insane since I married you." "You love it. Every second." Alexia looked up at her mother. "Mum, tell Elijah it's my turn." "Eli, give your sister the tablet." "But Mum?" 5 more minutes, then it's his turn." Amara smiled. "Fair is fair, Lexi." Their daughter huffed but accepted it. She had her mother's sense of justice and her father's intensity. God help them all when she hit her teenage years. That night, after the kids were asleep, Min-ho found Amara in their bedroom, looking at their wedding photo. The second one. The real one. "What are you thinking about?" "About choices," she said softly. "You gave me 2. I took the one that led to this." She gestured around. "To you, to them, to everything. Best choice you ever made." He wrapped his arms around her. "Actually," she turned in his embrace, eyes sparkling, "the best choice I made was staying. After the wedding, after the danger, after everything, I chose to stay. I chose you. Every single day, I choose you. I choose you too." He kissed her, deep and slow. "Every day, forever." Outside, Seoul glittered. Inside, a family built from forced beginnings had become something real and beautiful and permanent. And in a prison cell across the city, Park stared at the ceiling, consumed by the reality that he'd lost everything, trying to destroy a man who'd ultimately been saved by love. The monster became a man. The captive became a queen, and the impossible marriage became the love story that conquered everything. Thank you for watching part 2 of a love tale that started with the words as simple, or not so simple, as "marry me or die." If you want to see more stories like this, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Drop a comment telling me what you thought of Park's betrayal and Min-ho's redemption. And remember, besties, sometimes the worst beginning leads to the most beautiful ending. Until next time, peace.